Good evening, everyone. I'm Akush Lopinder. The government's to crack down on business owners who deduct national insurance contributions from employees but fail to actually pay the money to NIB, an ongoing practice Minister responsible Brentzel Roll called unfair.
It is perhaps bordering on criminal. If I take your monies from you to make a contribution to your Social Security network and you get sick and suddenly finds out, listen, my contributions were not paid, then that's an issue. What we say to every single employee, though, is there is a means by which you could go to NIB and go online to see whether your contributions are being paid.
You see, according to the minister, NIB's paying out more in benefits than it collects in contributions, an issue he accepts the government must look into. After all, there could come a day when NIB runs out of resources.
I think our actuarial have suggested 10 years from now. I can't remember specifically what the drop dead date is, but again, we're not a money-making institute. We collect contributions from you to pay out benefits to you, and that's all we do.
Now, in hopes of avoiding this, here's what the minister suggests.
If our contributions are not being equal to our benefits, only two things could happen. Either we could ask you to increase your contributions so that we could pay your benefits, or we have to decrease your benefits to become equal to your contribution.
The minister is strongly advising everyone to ensure NIB payouts are up to date. Water and Sewage's Board of Directors questioning last week's strike poll staged by both the corporation's line staff and management unions. Executives claim the unions have not met the requirements stipulated in respective constitutions. Now, based on results of the strike poll, out of 312 non-managers, nearly 34% voted in favor, 9% voted against, and nearly 57% or 177 abstained. But the board stressed in a release that Busawu Constitution states the union can only call a strike against the company after a majority vote, and that given the statute, the two-third rule applies. That then translates into Busawu not meeting the criteria. Union President Dwayne Woods is in turn calling the WSC's executive chairman Adrian Gibson disingenuous, charging that he's campaigning for public opinion and attempting to also control the Department of Labor.
We did all due diligence, and the strike poll was conducted by the Ministry of Labor, what is the government-run organization for strike polls. So I don't see how executives of the corporation could question the government. The chairman is trying to muddy the water, man. He can't direct the Ministry of Labor. And all what he's trying to do is direct the Ministry of Labor. If I didn't follow the right procedure, wouldn't the Department of Labor not conduct the poll? They conducted the poll. The people voted. The voice of the people is the voice of God, and they have spoken.
The president's also questioning why the executive chairman's meddling in the internal affairs of the union and sought to clear the air on the issue of his administrative leave.
My administrative leave, that is applied for every 3 years. And only the renewal of it. It's a benefit under the industrial agreement for every 3-year term in office. And we go to election, and whoever wins the election then applies for the renewal. The problem is that I have won the 3-year term in office on 3 consecutive elections, and that's what grants me 9 years of being able to do the people's work with pay. And the chairman is attempting to roll back that benefit in the middle of a term.
Meantime, WSC's board claims that by law, WSC's managerial union president Edna Rowe cannot and ought not to have been allowed to have a strike poll as his term in office expired last month. The managerial union strike poll showed that 32% of the managers voted in favor, 19% against, and 49% abstained. Bahamas Hotel Catering and Allied Workers Union President Darren Woods, meantime, updating the press on where his issues stand. Some of you may recall the story of Atlantis' attempt to implement a 12-point disciplinary system along with a new housekeeping shift system. Mr. Woods says they're still in negotiations.
Well, not on the black burner because we're still in discussions with them as it relates to the IAP or the 12 points. They've discontinued that. We're still in negotiations with them as it relates to the shifts and all that. We have some some matters that we're dealing with through the channel, and we're using the process of negotiations.
Mr. Wood says barring a favorable outcome, the union will decide its next move. You're watching JCN News. Stay with us.
This segment of the news was brought to you by Alive.